So I understand one or two people locally are considering taking up Aikido, and I met someone in the street who is currently a member and was wondering what exercises they might benefit from. So I'm going to put forward a couple of exercises here which will very much assist you if you practice them before you come to the dojo, just something to do. You know your medical condition, you know your limits. It's up to you to practice them safely. They're not really very demanding. And so here we go. We assume first that you've warmed up. And you can do that by whatever means. Use any system to warm up. I may go over exercises for that at some stage. But I want to get these two exercises in now. Now the first thing which you have to consider in Aikido, if you want to do these exercises properly, you want to try to breathe with your stomach. Many people just breathe up here. The chest, the cage just expands and contracts, and they breathe quite quickly. What you want to do ideally is to breathe in, have your stomach swell, breathe right down to your diaphragm, and breathe out. Right out. So you're taking a full breath, and I'm sure that you can find references to this elsewhere. This first exercise is called Torifune, and it's a rowing exercise. So basically, front foot forward, other foot back. Start with your weight over your front knee, hands out. You start slowly and you breathe. So you can see I'm breathing forcefully. I'm deliberately making a noise. And I'm just transferring my weight. Front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot. And it's a rowing exercise. So you're breathing. Be prepared to exaggerate it. So you start slowly. And you speed up. And you slow down. And you get a bit more gentle. And the other foot forward. Toe slightly pointed out so that it brings your belly button forward. Weight over your knee. You'll notice how my posture has lowered. Now you may have noticed I was slightly off balance in that. It's because I'm on a bit of a slope. It's rather hard to keep in balance on the slope. But the principle is that you've lowered your posture, belly button forward, and your balance should be solid. Also, you're not overreaching. You're just going to that point where you're strong. If somebody came and, say, pushed you just gently from behind, you wouldn't tip over, whereas if you've gone to here, you'll tip over. Another thing to note is that your back foot should remain flat. It shouldn't be doing this. It shouldn't be going or anything like that. It remains flat on the ground. There we go. And you should really feel breathing in to here. If I go over, I'm grossly exaggerating, but now I'm off balance. If I lean back, I'm off balance that way. So you want to retain balance, forward, back, strongly. So that's the basic first exercise. Now what does that give you? It teaches you, it's making you more stable, it's making you drop your centre of gravity, and preparing you for general Aikido exercises. Now the second exercise, a big thing, which I always tell beginners they really need to do, if they do nothing else, learn Irimi Tenkan. And what that means is step and turn. So if we do this, say, in a natural way, I may keep it simple. What that means is simply that I step and turn. Step, turn. It's a bit hard for me to do it naturally because I've been doing it so long. But in Aikido, you're basically sliding. So once again, this toe is pointed out, this toe is across like that, my belly button's forward. I slide through with this foot, I turn the toe, right, and my weight has come to here, and then this foot goes round like that. Now I try to retain my balance. It's difficult on the slope. Of course the dojo is ideal conditions, you've got nice smooth mats, it's all level, etc. So, here we go, I slide through, I try to keep my head at the right level, I turn the toe inward, and my weight is transferred here, and then this foot goes round like that. My weight remains on my front foot. If you think back to school, when you were using a compass, this is sort of what it's like. Here's my weight here, as I step through my weight travels here. Now this is the point of the compass, which sticks in the paper, and your weight's over it, you turn, and my big toe is like the pencil, and I draw a circle like that. And I come on balance here. Now there are hand movements to do that go along with this, but just for starters, it's best just to have your hands here. Just don't bother with the hands, otherwise you just find it too complicated. So, basic exercise, just do it slowly. There we are. Step through, turn, draw the circle. Step through, turn, draw the circle. Step through, turn, draw the circle. And try to keep your head level, looking ahead. Sorry, the balance is very difficult. It slopes that way and that way. Obviously you need a bit of space to do this, and in the dojo it would be done in bare feet like this, but because of the cold in general I've taken to wearing a pair of cheap blimmies. You can do it fairly easily with that. So an important point is to try to keep level You want about 70% of your weight on the front foot, 30 on the back. But as you come through, you transfer the weight to your front. So you've got 70 here, 30 on the back. You turn, and of course if your weight's over it, you can keep on balance. If you're trying to do it back here, you know, all kinds of strange things are happening. In the end, you'll find the coordination that you need to use. So my weight is transferring onto it as I turn. And that is a fundamental exercise of Aikido. And if you practice that before you get into the dojo, it will put your head. Now these are not, shall we say, as directly useful exercises. There are breathing exercises you can do. But first of all, how do we stand? So, my feet are apart, my knees are slightly bent, I'm just sort of slightly sitting down, shall we say. My head and neck should just be aligned, chin up like this, and I should be basically relaxed. So a basic exercise is simply to breathe in, to breathe out. So you're breathing in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Now what you should be feeling when you breathe out is you should be feeling this area below your belly button should be tightening up. So as I breathe in, I can feel it against my belt as it swells. But even as I breathe out, it's also pushing against a different part of my belt. Put it crudely, you're breathing out through your genitals, or it should feel like that. So you're pushing down with the air, and it's pushing out. Now ideally, the arms should raise more or less of their own volition. You know, they should sort of float up, in my opinion. This is other people, but at first you may just raise and drop them. But if you can get this feeling of it's like you're pushing down on a rubber ball or a big, big balloon, beach ball or something like that, beach balloon, space hopper, something that sort of has this feeling of firmness and yet it gives. And this is the area you're concentrating on. So if you want to visualize it, you're pushing energy down into that. So okay, so here's another exercise. So okay, we start in this relaxed position, our hands are in front. Now one hand is going to move up, so the position is this. As I breathe in, yes, one hand pushing up to the sky, and I should feel, like I'm really sort of pushing up against something and pushing back. see what's happening. I'm pushing, moving my hands up a central line. They're not sort of coming in like that. They're moving onto a central line, moving out, pushing. So the coordination of the breathing's a little bit tricky with this one. But you'll sort of get the feeling, hopefully, of how your arms and breath should be moving together. So obviously you should be pushing out at this point, breathing out, breathing in, cross here, breathing out. Yeah? So what you'll probably find is that you're taking in, unless you make a habit of breathing deeply, is you're taking in more oxygen than you are usually accustomed to. And with these exercises, with the Torifune exercise, if you're feeling sluggish and you want to get yourself some energy, a bit of breathing is going to get you going. So, there are life benefits from it. But the main things you want to take into account, I think, apart from breathing properly, diaphragmatically, which you can look up from other sources if you're in doubt, is that you're dropping your centre, you're making yourself more stable. If I'm up here and somebody pushes me, I'm going to go over easily. If I'm like this and I'm just relaxed and somebody pushes me, it's going to be harder to shift me. And this is one of the things that you're trying to do in Aikido, trying to lower your centre of gravity, take your centre down to here, your tanden, which is 2 inches, or roughly a couple of inches below your navel. But rather than just sort of fix it like a geographical point on a chart, you want to feel it. So this is where these breathing exercises come in. I'll try to expand on some of these things at a later date, but the video's probably already getting quite long. And but just these two, well, the first two, the rowing exercise called Torifune and the Irimi Tenkan, are, in my opinion, the most important start. If you can practice them, then if you've got any problems, just leave some comments in the comment section. Just ask questions and I'll try to cover them. Okay, thank you.